Once upon a time, in the bustling city of Ibadan, there lived a man named Timothy. Timothy had nothing except love. He was a taxi driver. He wasn't a rich man. He didn't come from wealth. He didn't own land, houses, or cars. But he had a heart full of kindness, patience, and love. He met Becky when they were both in their early 20s. She was beautiful, smart, and full of dreams. They met at a church youth camp in Ibadan. Timothy was one of the organizers, humble and hardworking. Becky had come from a nearby village to attend. They connected during the last night of camp when everyone sat around a bonfire sharing stories. Timothy told a story about perseverance and faith, and Becky was moved. After camp, they kept in touch, and their friendship blossomed into love. Becky didn't come from much. Her parents were farmers in a small village. They struggled to feed their children. Becky had always told herself she would escape that life. She would marry a man with vision, and they would rise together. So when she married Timothy, she believed he had that spark. He had dreams. He was honest and kind. He told her, "We might be poor today, but I believe we can build something great." She believed him. A year later, Becky gave birth to twin girls, Amelia and Ruth. Timothy cried with joy. "This is the best day of my life," he said, holding his daughters. But joy didn't pay bills. They lived in a one-room face-me-I-face-you house in Ibadan. The roof leaked when it rained. There was only one mattress and they all shared it. Timothy worked as a taxi driver. Every kobo he earned went into feeding his family. But it was never enough. Becky endured 5 years of that life. 5 years of struggling, 5 years of waiting for a breakthrough that never seemed to come. She started to feel cursed. Is this how my parents lived? And now me too. Will this never end? She thought. Becky wanted more than love. She wanted security, a better life. She didn't want to raise her daughters in the same poverty she grew up in. The desperation began to eat at her. She started blaming Timothy for everything. "You said we would grow. You said things would get better, but we're still here struggling," she shouted one night. Timothy tried to calm her. "Becky, I'm trying. I'm doing all I can. We just need more time." But she had already made up her mind. One rainy morning, she packed her bag. "I can't die in this poverty," she said. "Timothy, I love my children, but I need to survive too. I have a sick mother in the village. I'm going there to take care of her. When I find my feet, I'll come back for the girls." "Becky, please, don't do this," Timothy begged. He held onto her bag. She pushed him away. Amelia and Ruth were 5 years old. They stood in the corner holding hands, crying. Their mother knelt to kiss them, whispered, "Mummy loves you very much," and then turned away and walked out the door. Timothy couldn't sleep. It had been 2 weeks since Becky left. The house was too quiet at night, except for the soft snores of his daughters, Amelia and Ruth, who clung to each other on their tiny mattress. Timothy sat outside on a low stool, staring at the stars. Maybe she had truly gone to take care of her sick mother like she said. Maybe she just needed time. He had to try. For the sake of the girls, for the sake of their family. At dawn, he locked the house and carried a small bag. He traveled from Ibadan to Becky's village, a dusty settlement in Oyo State. The compound was quiet when he arrived. Becky's mother, Mama Becky, was outside shelling groundnuts. "My son," she said, surprised. Timothy. "What brings you here?" He knelt to greet her, then asked gently, "Mama, how is your health? I heard you were sick." She looked confused. "Sick? Me? I've never felt better. Why?" Timothy's heart dropped. He swallowed hard and whispered, "Becky told me she came here to care for you. That's why she left." Mama looked shocked. "She hasn't been here." "I haven't seen Becky in over a year." Timothy's knees grew weak. He sat on the ground slowly, staring at the sand. His mind raced, but there were no answers, only questions. Why did she lie? Where had she gone? He left the village that evening without eating. Weeks passed. Timothy told no one what he found. Then one evening at the taxi park, a fellow driver tapped him on the shoulder. "Timothy." "No, wow. I saw your wife in Abuja with one big man, motor spare parts dealer. They say they just got married." He showed him pictures on his phone. Timothy didn't flinch. He just nodded. That night, he sat beside his daughters as they did their homework. Amelia asked, "Daddy, do you think Mummy will come back soon?" Timothy smiled faintly. She might. But for now, I'm here. And that's all that matters. Timothy was crushed, but he couldn't cry and couldn't tell the girls the truth about their mother. He became mother and father. He washed their clothes, braided their hair, cooked their meals, and worked long hours as a taxi driver. Every day, he would wake up at 4 a.m., prepare their food, get them dressed, and drop them off at school before starting his day. Some days he made N3000, and bad days, nothing at all. But every night, he would bring something home, even if it was just bread and pure water. The girls never went to bed hungry. He taught them how to be strong, even when life was hard. He told them stories about hard-working people who made it out of poverty. Your situation does not define you, he would say. Your dreams do. School was a battle. Timothy knew education was their only way out of poverty. But school fees, books, and uniforms were expensive. Many times the girls were sent home because of unpaid fees. One day, Amelia came home with tears in her eyes. "Daddy, my teacher said we can't write the test without paying for our notebooks." Timothy sighed. That night, he sold his wristwatch, his only one, just to buy exercise books. Ruth once cried, "Daddy, maybe we should stop going to school. It's too hard." Timothy hugged her tightly. "No, you will go to school. You will finish. I will make sure of it, even if I have to crawl." He took night shifts, worked weekends, and even slept in his taxi just to save more money. He sold his radio and his television. He stopped eating lunch. The girls noticed. They studied hard. Amelia always came first in her class. Ruth followed. Their teachers called them the Twin Stars. After some years, it was time for their SSCE examinations. Timothy had no money. He had just fixed his taxi's engine. The girls sat quietly that evening, not saying a word. He saw their faces, worried, sad. That night, he went to his church and cried on the altar. "God, please help me. I don't want my daughters to suffer. I've tried everything." The next day, his old friend called him and said, "Timothy, I heard your girls are sitting for SSCE examinations. I want to help." It was enough to register both girls. He wept like a child. They passed with flying colors, 9 A1s each. But what next? University seemed impossible. The girls didn't even tell their father about their dreams of studying abroad. They didn't want to add more pressure. But God had other plans. One day, Timothy came back from work and saw a brown envelope on the table. It had the ECOWAS logo. "Daddy, open it," Ruth said. Inside was a letter. "Congratulations, Amelia and Ruth. You have been awarded the ECOWAS Excellence Scholarship to study at Oxford University in the United Kingdom." Timothy collapsed on the chair. "Oxford, UK?" he whispered. He held his daughters and cried. "I told you God is real." Life changed. The girls flew to the UK with hope in their hearts. The cold air shocked them. The streets were big and busy. Everything was different from home. But Amelia and Ruth were determined to make their father proud. At first it was hard. The food was strange, and they missed the warmth of their country. They missed their father's cooking and their old home. Sometimes they felt lonely, but they studied hard, day and night. They attended lectures, took notes, and asked questions. School was not just about classes. They had to learn how to live alone. They cooked simple meals in their small dorm, kitchen, and cleaned a tiny room every weekend. Money was tight. The scholarship paid tuition and some living costs, but it was not enough. Amelia started working part-time at the university library. She shelved books, helped students find materials, and sometimes worked late into the night. Ruth found a job at a nearby cafe, washing dishes and serving customers. They had to manage their time carefully, balancing work and study. Many nights, they stayed up late, finishing assignments after long days of classes and work. Some days they were too tired to eat properly or rest, but they never gave up. Their professors noticed their hard work. Amelia was known for her sharp mind and quick thinking. Ruth was praised for her dedication and kindness. They helped other students with their studies and joined clubs to learn more. Slowly, their hard work paid off. They won small awards for best essays and were invited to speak at school events. Their classmates respected them. Every Sunday, no matter how busy, they video called their father in Nigeria. They told him about their week, the new friends they made, and how they missed him. Timothy listened, proud and happy. "Daddy, are you eating well?" "Daddy, we sent you something small." Life was starting to shift for Timothy. Every month, Amelia and Ruth sent him a small allowance from the UK. It wasn't much, but to a man who had once gone hungry so his daughters could eat, it was a treasure. But Timothy didn't waste it. One day, while waiting in his taxi for passengers, he noticed a young man rush out of a restaurant carrying takeaway food, jump on a bike and speed off. "Delivery!" the man shouted as he rode away. A spark lit in Timothy's eyes. That night he couldn't sleep. His mind kept spinning. The next week, he used part of the money his daughters sent to buy a second-hand bike. He designed flyers by hand and distributed them to offices, schools and markets around Ibadan. "Fast and hot food delivery, call Uncle Tim." He became the delivery man himself. Soon he had too many deliveries to handle alone. He made a bold decision. He sold his taxi, the same taxi that had carried him through years of suffering. It was hard, but he had a vision now. With the money, he bought 2 more bikes. He hired 3 young riders, boys from the neighborhood who needed a chance, just like he once did. 4 years passed. The day of graduation came. Amelia and Ruth wore their gowns and caps with pride. When their names were called, they walked to the stage together. Both received top honors, graduating with distinction, the highest marks in their entire class. They looked out at the crowd and saw their father's smiling face on the screen, watching their live stream. Their hearts swelled with joy. After many years of hard work, Amelia and Ruth finally returned to Nigeria with their degrees. Their hearts were full of hope and excitement. They had dreamed of this day for so long, but the journey was not over yet. Before they could start working, they had to serve their country through the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. It was a 1-year program for all graduates, meant to help build unity and give them work experience. The twins were posted to Lagos, the bustling city of opportunities. Lagos was different from Ibadan. The city was loud, busy, and full of tall buildings and fast cars. The sisters were a little scared, but ready to face the challenge. Their NYSC camp was tough. They woke up early every day, joined drills, attended classes, and did community service. Sometimes they were very tired, but they stayed strong. They made new friends from all over Nigeria and learned a lot about teamwork and leadership. During their community service, Amelia worked in a health center, helping patients with paperwork and simple care. Ruth worked with a law firm, assisting with files and helping clients. Both learned valuable skills that made them ready for the working world. After the NYSC year, they began job hunting in Lagos. It was not easy. Many companies wanted experienced workers, but the sisters didn't give up. One day, Amelia got a call from a top international law firm. They wanted to interview her. Weeks later, Ruth also got a chance to interview at a leading hospital. After long weeks of waiting, they both received good news. Amelia was offered a job at the law firm, and Ruth was hired as an accountant at one of the top 4 accounting firms in the country. With their steady incomes, they started to save money to build a house. Timothy was so proud when the girls told him their plans. Together, they found a nice piece of land in Lagos and built a beautiful 5-bedroom house. It was a far cry from the small 1-room house they had lived in as kids. The house had big windows, a garden, and even a small playground for the neighborhood children. The day they invited Timothy to move in was full of joy and tears. "Daddy, you have worked so hard for us. Now it's time for you to live comfortably," Amelia said. Timothy looked around the house in disbelief. "This is more than I ever dreamed of," he said softly. Life was finally looking bright for the family. Timothy moved in with joy. Everything was finally looking up. Life was sweet again. Then Becky came back. She had found a photo of the girls on Instagram. It was a celebration picture. "Thank you, Daddy, for building us from nothing. New house, new chapter." The photo went viral in their small circle, and through a mutual friend of a friend, Becky got the address. She knocked on the new house's gate one afternoon. Ruth answered. She stared at her face in disbelief, whispering, "Mummy?" Becky fell to her knees, crying. Ruth stepped forward and gently helped Becky inside the house, tears still streaming down Becky's face. "My daughters, I've looked for you everywhere. I didn't abandon you. I had to leave because I was very sick. I didn't want to put your health at risk. And your father didn't have the money to take care of me. I didn't want to be a burden. I went far away to treat myself. I suffered alone. For years, I struggled to get money for treatment. I only just recovered 2 years ago, and I had to gather the strength to come back. I couldn't bear to stay away from you any longer. She looked weak. Her voice was broken. Her story made sense. The girls believed her. They cooked for her and welcomed her into their home. When Timothy came home and saw her in the living room, he stopped at the door. "What is she doing here?" "Daddy, please, listen to her. She's been through a lot." "She's lying," Timothy said firmly. "I know her better than anyone. Don't be fooled." "Dad, please!" "Give her a chance. She's our mother," Amelia pleaded. That evening, Timothy was uncomfortable. He felt like a stranger in the house, so he packed his bags. "I'm going back to my one-bedroom. This doesn't feel like home anymore." He left quietly back to Ibadan to focus on his delivery business. Becky began to enjoy herself. New dresses, shopping, spa treatments, weekly allowances, but she overplayed her hand. One evening, Ruth was walking past Becky's room when she heard her talking on the phone. Her voice was loud and clear. "Yes, my daughters don't know the truth. They think I was sick, but I wasn't. I left because I wanted a better life. I found a man in Abuja, a motor spare parts dealer, and I married him." Becky laughed bitterly. "At first, he seemed like a good man, but then he got sick and lost all his money. I had to leave him too. I couldn't stay with a broke man. I have suffered. To get food was a struggle, and that's why I came back. I want to live better now. My daughters have money, and I intend to take my share." Ruth's heart stopped. She quickly pulled out her phone and recorded the whole conversation. The next morning, she showed the recording to Amelia. Amelia listened carefully, her face growing serious. They went to Becky and played the recording. Becky dropped her phone and knelt. "I was just joking, please." But it was too late. "You used us," Ruth said. "You never came back for love. Just money." The girls drove to their father's apartment at Ibadan. He was sitting on a plastic chair outside. They knelt before him. "Daddy, we're sorry. We didn't believe you." Timothy looked at them. His eyes were soft. "I was never angry. I just didn't want you to be hurt." They begged him to come back home. That weekend he returned. They cooked his favorite meal. Ruth gave a speech. "Our father is the true hero. He gave everything, even when he had nothing." Timothy smiled through tears. He had no riches, but he had daughters who understood the truth. And that was enough. The end. If you love this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more beautiful stories from Folktale Central, where legends come alive.